And welcome to our annual Girls Who Print Leadership Panel. This is one of our favorite moments at the show, and I am happy to welcome some new members to our panel this year. My name is Deborah Corn, and I am the Intergalactic Ambassador to the Printverse at PrintMediaCentr. What I do is provide printspiration and resources to the print and marketing community with some fun in the mix. And I am a community builder, and I have built a community around this theme of the Printverse, that we're all part of one big system. We all play a role in it, and we all need each other. There is a timeline continuum, and we're all part of each other's timeline continuum here, if you know, to keep up with these right? You like the timeline continuum shout out back there, the science fiction geeks. So I started about 8 years ago, started this little group on LinkedIn, and I've grown it to the largest print group in the world. It's called Print Production Professionals. There's over 95,000 people in it. My social network, hey Jules, my social reach is over 125,000 people, not including the 80 to 100,000 visits on my site each month. So in industry terms, I've become an influencer, and it's all honestly because of you guys, because when we all banded together and demanded a different conversation, we got it because you empowered me to step in front of these companies, and they knew I had 125,000 people behind me, and we didn't want to hear sales pitches anymore. We wanted to hear how people are actually using their equipment to make money. What are the damn applications? What can you create with these things? Stop talking about speeds and paper sizes and, you know, my ink does this, and you know, where is, if the industry is going to grow, it has to grow through ideas and conversations and communications. And that is what the Printverse is all about. So I'm also honored that the Printverse was chosen to host Girls Who Print Day. Thank you so much, Mary Beth Smith. And this year, we actually officially merged, let's say. I help Mary Beth Smith with some community outreach, and I give her community a silo on my website, and I help her maintain that. But all of the initiatives and the direction is all Mary Beth Smith. She is girl number one. So thank you so much for the honor of, hosting Girls Who Print Day and this panel.
And girl number two, the official girl number two.
Thank you, Mary Beth Smith. So let's start off with, and I have to say that we have 6 questions, and I'd like to get through them all. So let's try to, you know, stay on, you know, as much point as possible so that we can also get questions from the audience, you know. Okay, so first question, and you three will share that microphone, pull it out. Okay, you got it all. Who are you, what do you do, and what is one characteristic that you believe every leader should possess? Mary Beth Smith.
Well, first of all, I strongly believe that every leader who's a true leader needs to possess the concept of being a servant leader. Leadership is servanthood. If you're serving your community, you are a leader. So that, I don't know any better way to put that. Who I am, I started out as a musician, a pipe organ major, there you go. I've been in the printing industry well over 20 years and came to that from marketing, but over the years that has merged. I've retired from my company job and now have a publishing company, but I also have a little more bandwidth to work with Girls Who Print.
Thank you so much. Gina Testa. When people say to me, oh, every time I'm on LinkedIn, your face pops up. Every time I'm on LinkedIn, Gina Testa, your face pops up. So you're my me in my feed.
There you go. All
And
right.
I wasn't sure exactly what to call you, so I titled you Print Legend.
I think that's a very complimentary title.
It
I've had
is.
worse. Yeah.
Well, hopefully you take it as a compliment.
Absolutely.
It is an honor and a privilege to have you on this panel. Thank you so much for joining us. Why don't you tell people who you are, what you do, and what one characteristic you believe every leader should have?
Okay, thank you, and thank you for having me here. As she said, Gina Testa, I have just retired from Xerox Corporation after 32 years. Basically, I grew up there, and it was an awesome 32 years, and a lot has changed in that period of time. This is the industry that I love, so I got to wear a lot of hats over that 32 years. Believe it or not, I started as an accountant. I was an intern. I was an auditor. But marketing and sales and being in front of customers is my passion and my love. And so I was offered a deal I couldn't resist. So even though I didn't have to leave, I left 2 months ago. So it's only been 2 months. This is a real big adjustment. And I've already now started my own consulting firm. It's called RT Consulting, and now I get to pick and choose and work with the associations, the customers, the companies that I love to do business with, and of course, any opportunity to give back and help other women in industry, and especially in this industry, I am more than willing to be first in line to help out.
Awesome, Gina Testa.
Okay.
Just freaking awesome.
Absolutely. So as far as my advice, what I believe a leader needs, and I'm going to also use this from a female perspective, I believe that a leader needs to have that inspiration and enthusiasm, energy level, that positivity. Nobody wants to be around someone who's negative and down and complaining and etc. So if you're not that glass half full kind of person, it's very hard to be an inspirational leader. So you really need to find your joy, find an industry, a group of people you love to work with because it shows through. So the couple times in my career when I was actually in a job that I really did not enjoy that much, you can do it, intellectually you can do the job, but if you don't love getting up every day in the morning and going to that job, it becomes a job, it's not a career, it's not your passion. So you need to find what that is, and I believe this industry is ripe for women who can come in and bring that attitude, that characteristic, that leadership capability. So I'm really looking forward to the future.
Thank you so much. Pat McGrew, Girly Number One Award winner.
Oddly true. It explains the tiara if you came in late. I don't normally wear this everywhere I go.
Oh my God, I'm still wearing mine.
Yes, you are. See, I told you. I told you.
Okay,
it would
let's
be
keep it
okay.
moving.
So I'm Pat McGrew. I'm currently at Keypoint Intelligence, InfoTrends, two organizations that merged a couple years ago. I come back to InfoTrends after sojourns through Pitney Bowes, Kodak, and HP, playing with inkjet, playing with document strategies, playing with workflows. So I'm now the director of production workflow for InfoTrends. So I get to play with all of my friends in all of the hardware companies and all of the software companies and try and bring some guidance to the industry. And that's a really cool job to come to at this point in my life. I'm coming after 40 years in print. So more than 40 years, if I'm really honest. My very first job in print, I was 14 years old and I was working in a print shop and I was spotting Ruby Lith. So I've done typesetting and everything else. I've done TV news. I've done document training. I've been a tech writer. So I've done a little bit of everything. And what I will bring to you as my key guidance on becoming a leader and being a good leader is to find your passion. Find the thing that you love. I think Gina and Mary Beth have both said the same thing, and I think you're going to hear it from a lot of us that the way you grow in your business career is you find that thing you love to do. No leader hates their job, in all honesty. If they hate their job, I promise they're really not a leader. You've got to be willing to put the time in.
Thanks so much. Kathy, who are you, what do you do, and how you...
My name is Kathy Romero. I own a small business in Winter Garden, Florida, and it's a business that Irma could not take down. So shout out to all my Winter Garden peeps. Thank goodness that it wasn't worse than it was. I'm thinking and praying of everybody back home. Oh, thank you. I'm very nervous. So I own a small business, a lot of custom canvas, large photo prints, and my priority is helping my customers capture every memory that they want to preserve for the rest of their lives. And I seek out ways to make that happen. We do sound canvases, I say we, it's just me. But I'm so grateful to be part of this panel, and I'm very excited to show my children, to show my daughters from 22 down to 5 that you can do this, that you can be part of a bigger puzzle than you think you could ever give input to. And I'm very excited, and I'm so glad to have my oldest daughter here in the audience.
Yeah, future girls who print, everybody.
Future girls are print. But to help everybody capture their memories. I'm a small business, but I have big goals and I have big dreams, and I want to be 100% part of how you capture that.
Thank you so, so much. Sarah Markfield, who are you? What do you do? And what is one characteristic you believe every leader should possess?
I'm Sarah Markfield. I am the communications manager for HP's graphic solutions business for the Americas. The one thing that I think a leader needs to possess is empathy, because you work with so many different people, and it's much easier to work with them if you understand where they're coming from. So in my role, I have a very diverse role. I see some of my colleagues from HP in the audience, and they all know I wear many hats. One day I could be talking to truck drivers, and the next day I could be talking to the CEO of HP. So trying to understand where somebody is coming from and working with them at their level, that's, for me, what a leader needs to do.
Thank you so much. It is my honor to welcome Jules Van Sant to this panel. I am, of course, a fan of everybody on this panel, but Jules, you really do so much community outreach and support your Portland area peeps over there, and really, you just do so much to inspire people.
You're too kind.
I'm serious. I'm a fan, and people should know who you are.
Well,
so
I'm a fan of you too.
It's about time you got on this damn panel. So welcome.
Well, thank you. Thank
Tell
you. Have I been
everybody-
on this panel before? I think I have.
Oh, you have?
Couple
I'm
times.
sorry.
Wow, I'm clearly not very memorable. I was going to say I've done it a couple of years, but that's okay. It's like I'm new every year, though. Yeah, like that.
Okay, you're blowing people's eardrums out.
Sorry.
Okay.
Well, it's, you
So
know.
let's bring it down to
Okay.
a 6. And
Oh.
why don't you tell people
My
who are
name
you? Go ahead, you got
is
it.
Jules Van Sant. I am the executive director of the Pacific Printing Industries Association, or at PPI Association on Twitter. I'm based out of Portland, Oregon, but I cover Oregon, Washington, Idaho, Montana, Alaska, and Hawaii. And I also service on a few national boards that work with the printing industry, including the Print and Graphic Scholarship Foundation. So I'm very passionate about the industry, and I'm all about being a printspiration for our future leaders, and so many beautiful people in the audience, many of them women, and thank you for being here. Let me tell you, from my perspective, every one of these women have given you some great advice. I would say be strong and have vision. Don't let somebody tell you that you can't. Don't let somebody say, we tried that and it didn't work. Because you know what? They don't want change. A great leader has vision and can lead change. Be patient and be strong.
Thank you so much. And just by show of hands, how many students in the audience? Awesome. Everyone give a round of applause. From what school? You guys are from Clemson. Where are you guys from? Clemson? Go Tigers. Were you there when I spoke at your school? Yeah, you saw me? How awesome was I, right? Okay. That's why you're here, right? You followed me like little puppies. I love it. Well, that's the whole point. You grow them, people. You inspire, and then you just keep on engaging, and you take them where they need to go. And when you guys have questions, you can ask me, and I will ask these people, because that's where I get my answers from. I don't know anything. Okay, Jules, I'm going to actually start with you. How would you define your leadership style, and how did you develop it?
Oh, it's kick-ass. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. My leadership style is to be disruptive, to be quite frank. This industry is going through a tremendous amount of disruption with technology. I was in a meeting this morning with my peers on the Print and Graphic Scholarship Foundation. 70 to 80% of the students coming into the industry are women. That's pretty disruptive, isn't it? Right? See? Yes. Thank you for that. And not that I don't like men, but the reality is that we're shifting. So I love the disruption. But I'm about questioning. I'm about saying, well, why do we do it that way? Why don't we look at it differently? To do the same thing and expect a different outcome is what? Insanity, right? So that's my style, and I'm sticking to it.
Thanks so much, Sarah. How would you define your leadership style, and how did you develop it?
So I would define my leadership style as short. Thanks, Pat. Gosh, I had a really good answer. Now you derailed me. Where was I going with this?
We can come back to you.
Yeah, come back to me.
Okay, we'll come back to you. You'll remember in like 2 minutes. You'll be like, damn it.
I would say it was built for me out of necessity. I never went into printing with the idea that I was going to be something for other people to look up to. And it was last year when I joined Girls Who Print that I found out that I could be something. And I have daughters. I have daughters from 22 down to 5. And I want them to be proud. I want to be proud of what I do, proud of what I preserve, proud of what I offer to everybody else. And so it was built completely out of necessity. And I love what I do, and I'm very grateful for the opportunity to teach my children that we can that we can preserve these memories, that we can work together, and we are a force to be reckoned with. And that is basically why I'm where I am right now.
Thanks so much. Pat McGrew?
Oh, you ready?
I'm ready.
Oh, Sarah, you remembered?
Yeah, I
Okay.
wrote it down. This
Sarah,
way, when Pat derails me, I'll be good.
I could define. I mean, if you couldn't do it, I could talk for 3 hours on your leadership style. So
Thank
you're
you.
good. Right.
Okay, but now I wrote it down because otherwise I'll forget. So best in class service, I would say that's probably my leadership style.
Amen.
Is that when somebody asks me to help them, I help them to the best of my ability, and I will go to great lengths to help them. I would say, how did I develop it? I've had some very exciting experiences in my life. I've lived in various countries around the world. In my very first job, I got a job at Coopers & Lybrand in London, and they didn't know what to do with this 4'10" woman that showed up in their office, and they said, "Oh, you speak French. That's wonderful. We're having an event in Geneva, Switzerland. You get to plan it." And I didn't know what to do, and the director of the business that I was working for kept hounding me, and so I realized, okay, tomorrow when he hounds me, I'm going to know everything, and I'm going to deliver it right there in his office. And I did, and it was the start of a great many adventures and exciting things that have happened in my life.
Thank you so much, Sarah. And I would have to agree. I was telling Jamie last night, Jamie the printer, everybody, from Allegra Princeton. We brought Jamie's a print chatter, and we brought him to Print 17 to listen to the panels and ask questions for Real Printer, asking questions, not this one, but the other ones. Or maybe you have a question, I don't know. You have daughters. You might have a question. But, okay, Pat McGrew.
I would have said that Sarah's style of leadership is get her done.
Is what?
Get her done.
Get her done, yes.
Get her done.
She's my
Just get her
go-to.
done. Yeah,
That's the point I was making with Jamie
just,
the printer.
Just get her done. And so for me, I think I've wandered through leadership styles over the years. When I ran a software company, that needed a certain style because now you've got 70 people in payroll to worry about and contracts to write and leadership has to be both leading. You've got to make sure that your team knows you're in charge. They have to understand the hierarchy structure, but it also has to be somewhat empowering. And then when I wandered through the vendor world and the consulting world, you take on different styles to make things work. But today, I think if I would want to be remembered for something, it would be for being an empowering leader, that I'm not in it to make me look good. I'm in it to make all the people who work for me look good. And in my new role, making all my clients and my customers look as good as they can and be the best that they can be. And whatever I have to do to get there, I'll get her done too.
And the truth is that Pat was working for HP at the time, and she said, hey, HP, I know this person with this social media thing, and I think we should give this a try, and we should see what's going on, and we should get in this space. And basically, she opened up a door, but on her recommendation, I wanted to deliver something that made them also respect Pat's choice. Because once they respected Pat's choice, it was easy for Pat to recommend me for other things because she knew she could count on her reputation. So it's very important that when you're surrounded by people like that, and you take the most you can of that advantage, and you over deliver so that that person will keep bringing you along and bringing you into new opportunities. Gina, how would you define your leadership style, and how do you develop it?
Okay, so I want to put this in perspective. After 32 years with a large corporation like Xerox, I did make it to the executive levels. My last position, and actually since the 90s, I've been a vice president in a very male-dominated organization. Frankly, I really never noticed it or paid attention to it. Never bothered me. I come from a really big family. It is what it is. But what I would tell you, as you're kind of maneuvering through a large corporation, it's a little bit different and sometimes than when you're running your own business, but a lot of the same characteristics lead to success. So I would say the most important thing is your reputation. Your reputation is everything when you're working in business. I think it's true even when you own your own business, because you have clients and you have peers, other companies who are watching you. So your word is your contract. If you say you're going to deliver something, you must deliver it. You really have to, unless it's really necessary, eliminate no, that's not possible out of your vocabulary. What can be done? How can it be done? Is there a new idea? And then I actually very much enjoy having a team and a staff that I can mentor. I think it actually comes from the fact that I come from a large Italian family, and I had a lot of brothers and sisters, and I just did this naturally. So a lot of leadership skills are natural. You can develop some, but you can't become somebody you're not. But basically, I like to mentor, lead on, help others. I'm very empowering. Please take the project and run. Just come to me when you have a question. That scares a lot of people if they're not used to it, but it's kind of ways to see who's going to sink and who's going to swim. And there is no one in charge of your career or your job except yourself. So you have to really work hard. And I will tell you, the easiest way to get ahead is you're going to work harder than everybody who's next to you. And you can work smarter, not harder in a lot of ways, but you need to find the right projects, make sure there's a deliverable, and you have to follow through with what you say you're going to do, when you say you're going to do it, on that schedule. Nothing pays off more long-term than that hard work and people knowing that you're going to deliver what you say when you say it, and that's your reputation, so it's sound. That's how you'll get other jobs. That's how other companies will come and try to scoop you up, because that word is going to get out. People know who deliver, and they know who are all just talk. So it's something you have to be very, very careful of, that you don't become one of the talkers and not one of the ones who actually get that work done.
Right. Thank you so much. Before Mary Beth Smith answers, we're going to ask for audience questions. And just so the Clemson students know, I make people ask questions. You know that because you've been in my thing. So we're going to make at least one of you ask a question. So everybody start thinking, and then the rest of you, if you have a question, please ask it in a nice, polite way. Mary Beth Smith?
Okay, well, before I give my answer, we have a wonderful example of CMYK sitting on the second row. Would you two ladies stand up a moment in the
Marifer.
yellow and the pink?
Marifer,
Just
and
real
your...
quick.
yes,
I mean,
yes,
this
you-
is just so cool. Turn
Oh, they
around so
do,
they
yeah,
can,
CMYK.
I mean, yay, girls
Your-
who
your
print.
shirts,
That's
pink,
awesome, awesome.
blue,
with their,
CMYK.
their blue lanyards and their black
Euro
pants. So,
coordinated,
yeah,
like prints.
I love it.
Oh, and you
So-
have black. Yeah, black pants.
Yeah, exactly. Had to do that. So, okay,
It's true.
my leadership style, who knows? I mean, kind of like Pat said, you've been around long enough, you've adapted to the situation you're in. What type of leadership does that situation call for? Does it call for an administrative leader who toes the mark and makes sure everyone's in compliance? Does it call for mentoring? Does it call for inspiration? Does it call for leading by example? And you learn to adapt to that. And I think that what I've heard everyone say, that's still part of being that servant leader. You're serving the community. You're serving the people around you. You're serving the company you work for. And that's what leadership does. It adapts and adjusts to what's needed. As far as my personal style of leadership, I'd say the most continuing thread is that I look for teachable moments. I think there are lessons in every situation. If you work for me and if you screw something up, I'm not going to jump down your throat. We're going to sit down and figure out what could we have done differently. If I'm leading a training class, before we start, I will say, I want you to take a piece of paper and write down things that you have questions about, and then we're going to go over those. At the end of a session, I will say, tell me 3 things you know now that you didn't know before we began. So that's just my personal style of leadership. I want to educate because I think education is empowering people. I think equipping you to do your job is the most important thing that I can do as a leader, because you're going to be here long after I am. I want to replace myself. You know,
Right.
I want to teach you to do what I do, and then I'll move on because I'm leaving it in good hands.
Right. Okay, questions. This is an illustrious panel. I'll answer a question too if anyone has a question for me, but no one ever does. Yay, college student has a question. I like it. What's your name, Clemson person?
My name is Grace Mosley.
Hi, Grace Mosley.
Yes.
What's your major?
My major is graphic communications.
Yay,
just like
everybody
the rest
give this
of the
girl a
students
hand.
here. I was just wondering if you could go back and say something to yourself when you first started out in this industry, a piece of advice, what would it be? And anyone can answer this.
Start with Sarah. I just wanted to see your reaction.
See, Deb does this because she and I talk often, and she can't see my face when I'm sitting at home working. But I know she really wants to talk on Skype because I know I make some great faces. If I could go back and talk to myself, I think that the thing for me is don't take anything for granted that somebody is willing to teach you. So I had a very interesting experience where I was designing some folders, and it was actually a brochure that the back part was the folder. And I didn't know terminologies like gusset or PMS. And when I went on site for the print run, the printers are all talking, and I'm like, I don't know what they're talking about. And so what I did was everything that they said to me or that they were talking to one another, kept asking them questions, trying to absorb as much as I could. When I left that company and I went to HP, I sat in training for 2 weeks with all the other new hires, and I'm sitting next to a bunch of people, and they're asking the same questions that I had asked, just quite a few years before. And I was able to answer them, and I thought to myself, wow, just listening, paying attention, and asking questions, those are the things that really help me.
Thanks so much.
All right, I'll jump in. So I've had a lot of different careers. So I think the one thing that I I wish I had been able to say to myself 40 years ago or longer, we won't get specific, is just to not sweat the current job. Somebody offers you a job, it gets you forward, you take it, learn everything you can from it, but don't feel like it locks you in. I went to school to become a TV news reporter. I'm not a TV news reporter, maybe you've noticed. I intended to go into network news. I started down that path and learned that I hated it. Not the process, but I didn't like the internal politics, the internal company politics of being in that business. Well, I was always a writer, so if you're a writer, you can move in any direction. Just like if you're a graphic designer, 4 million specialties in graphic design. So don't feel locked in, but learn from everything you can do.
Thanks so much. Does anyone else want to answer that? Go ahead, Kathy. And then Jules.
It's completely okay to march to the beat of your own drummer. You don't have to follow a path.
They can't hear
that's-
you, Kath.
Oh, sorry. You don't have to follow a path. You don't have to follow a preset path. It is completely okay to march to the beat of your own drummer. You can succeed based on your own goals. You don't have to listen to what everybody's saying that you should do. And I think that's really important for this generation to know. You don't have to follow that preset path. You can set your own path. You can be your own drummer. And that's really important. It's a voice that I want my children to know. It's what I want this generation to know. It's okay. You don't have to follow this preset path. Make your own path, and it's going to be completely okay.
Thanks so much, Jules.
Simply network, network, network. It's who you know. Don't be afraid to come up to people when you're at a show like this and we've met on Twitter or on Instagram or say, I know you. It's who you know and the network that you create that creates that base for you to build on. And as a leader, that's what you need to move forward as well. Get that nice wave of friends and family behind you. We're all one big community, so use that.
I actually want to answer that question a little differently because it's not that I would go back and tell myself something that I didn't do. It's that what I did, I should have done sooner, which was not care that everyone told me I was a lunatic, and I had this vision of having this printerverse where everybody can just come together and share information, and it's not about sales. It's just about creating good print and a big community that helps each other. And it was like I was, proposing, all these people like, well, that's money off my plate, and that's this, and people started calling me competitor, and, some people out there made my life a living hell, quite frankly, but I stuck to it because I just didn't believe there was a community forming around this idea. I wasn't doing anything. Everybody in the community was telling the other people, hey, the freaking information is over here without the pitch, without the direct communication. So I just wish that I had this idea sooner, And if you I guess what it boils down to, if you have a vision and you believe in something, just try it. What the hell? And as Pat McGrew told me, just say yes. Just keep saying yes, and then figure out how to deal with it later. Deborah, do you want to speak at an event? Oh my God, I've never spoken at an event. Just say yes, we'll figure it out later. Deborah, do you want a booth at Graph Expo? What? I don't want a booth. Yes, just say yes. Just say yes, and we'll work it out later. And this is the result.
Deborah, do you want to spend 3 weeks in Germany looking at
Yes.
Yes,
So this is the result. Believe in yourself, and when it's right, a way comes to make it all happen. So we do have to wrap it up in 5 minutes, but I want to ask you, oh, you have a question. This is way more important. Question. Thank you, Joanne.
I'm also from Clemson. My name's Emily.
Clemson, Emily,
yeah.
stand up. Thank you.
This kind of goes off what you're saying, but like now, like in the industry now, what is like the top, like number one mistakes you see with like new people coming into the industry, like someone you just hired, someone who's like going into their first job? What's like the number one thing that you're like, they don't even know that this is like gonna come back to bite them?
Okay, I'm just gonna say one thing. And somehow I feel like a grandparent saying it, like I'm cursing another generation, but I'm uncomfortable with the workload is phrases I'm hearing from people. I'm uncomfortable with working. What are the hours here? What is it in for me? Oh, I'm not really into that. It's like, it doesn't feel like anybody wants a career. They just want a job that they can work at so they can buy their jam supplies and go home and make jam or beer or something. And we need those people. We want those people. We love those people. They support the print industry. But if you want a career in marketing or print, go for it. Act like you want a career. Have a career. You don't even have to have a career path. Just say, I want this. What do I need to do to keep this? And you will elevate yourself on top of everyone else, because those rest of the people just want jobs. Nobody wants to hire someone who just wants a job. They want someone with a career. Anyone? Gina.
Yeah, I'll start on this question, and I think it actually plays into the previous question we had. If you could really do some soul searching, you need to determine what is your definition of success. What do you want to do 8 and 10 hours a day? And the answer is different for every individual. So I can't answer your question, you can't answer mine. And it really plays into really what you just stated. Do I want to work hard? Is my definition of success owning my own business? Is it I want to have $2 million? Is it I want to play tennis, half a week and do work? Only you can answer that question. But once you know and have a vision of where you want to go, then you work out the steps to get there, right? And you learn from your peers, other people that are competitors in other companies. It's that networking component that can help you. I can remember this when I was a senior in college. I was an English major. Where am I going with that, right? So I ended up getting a master's in accounting, but I was an English major. I loved to read, loved it. But what job? I didn't want to be a teacher, right? So I started interviewing people my senior year, and it was amazing. Every person I interviewed with the exception of a doctor, had a degree in something that had absolutely nothing to do with the job they were doing or their career. So it really kind of let me settle down and take a deep breath. Let me just get my degrees in what I enjoy. That career thing is going to work itself out, because it's all based on who you know, networking, and luck. Being in the right place at the right time. I know that sounds like so cliche, but I can't tell you how much it's true.
But they are in the right place at the right time. They're in the Printiverse.
All right. For all of you who are students, but even all of you who are not students, but you have a Facebook account, an Instagram account, a Twitter account, please think very carefully about the pictures you post, the comments you make, because they don't die.
And grammar and spelling count too.
They do, but beyond that. So the previous generations,
Sorry,
like when I was
Howard.
coming up, there wasn't a lifetime record of every moment of my life happening, right? But today, when we've just been doing some hiring at InfoTrends, we did hiring at HP. HR people are looking at your Facebook, whether you think they are or not.
Yeah.
And even if you think it's locked down, HR managers are looking, recruiters are looking. Potential new employers are looking at everything that you are posting. And if every post is of you holding a can of beer, a glass of wine, a mixed drink, you're going to find it harder to find a job once you're out of college. And if you're in the industry and you're working, you're going to find it harder to find the next job.
Right.
The best piece of advice I can give you is to go back and clean up your online world. And do it now. Don't wait till you're out of college. Don't wait till sometime in the future when you think you're going to need to be looking for a job, do it now.
Right.
Because a lot of people reject people based on their online presence and not based on what they know.
Right.
Okay.
So, Jules, you, answer this question, then we need to wrap it up. So, answer and then just tell people how they can get in touch with you, and then we'll come down the line.
So real fast, communicate. We have generational issues as far as how people work and how they communicate. So listen and talk. Ask questions. Don't be afraid to say, can you explain why we do this so that I can better plug myself in, instead of just assuming that you need to do it your way and that your employer gets it. Because oftentimes there's a real difference there. So I would say communicate. You want to get a hold of me at Jules V Live. You can get my card as well, or also PPI Association. I have a couple Twitters. Please reach out. Love to connect.
Thanks so much, and thanks for joining the panel, Sarah Markfield.
Yes, you.
How can people get in touch with you, HP, what booth you in, what's going on?
So I'm in HP booth 613. You can't miss it. It's right when you come in the show. You can follow me on Twitter at Sarah Markfield. You can easily find me. If you go in the HP booth, people know me.
Thank you so much. Kathy? How can people get in touch?
So my word of advice to all of you college students, don't let today's thoughts define who you're going to be tomorrow. It doesn't work that way. And I am completely.
Get in touch with you?
You can get in touch with me through Facebook. I am Romero.imaging. Instagram as well. I don't do LinkedIn or Twitter because I'm lame, apparently.
Thank you.
But yes, I will. I'm easily accessible.
Thank you so much for joining the panel. Really appreciate it. Pat McGrew.
At Pat McGrew on Twitter, Pat McGrew on LinkedIn, Pat McGrew pretty much anywhere, pat.mcgrew at InfoTrends or keypointintelligence.com. Put my name into a search engine. I am not the football coach from Oklahoma.
Gina Testa.
Again, you can reach me on the Twitter at Gina Testa. Same with LinkedIn.
Twitter.
And that's the easiest way to get me. Yep.
Thank you so much. Mary Beth Smith, first of all, thank you so much for this idea, this community, and bringing it to this booth, to the Printiverse, and for our galaxies merging this year. Thank you for everything.
We wouldn't have Girls Who Print Day on this kind of scale if it weren't for the Printerverse. There's no question about that. So thank you. I'm easy to find. If you'll follow hashtag Girls Who Print, it will take you to my LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. My Twitter handle is at Girls Who Print, so you can find me.
And two things I want to say. First of all, there's some other girls who print in this booth. Sandy Hubbard is over there, and she is manning my Twitter account, and she's the moderator of Print Chat with me every week at 4 o'clock, and she, when I am out being your ambassador, Sandy Hubbard is at home base manning the Print Chat, and she has a large following and created the hashtag Help Print Thrive. So follow that and check out what she does. She helps businesses with their email marketing and ties it to print, and is a print strategist. And if you're a growing business, and especially if you're experiencing accelerated growth, Sandy Hubbard is a fantastic resource of information, inspiration, and ideas. As well, Kelly Malazzi is back there somewhere. There she is. She's massively a Girls Who Print. She is helping all people of print better have communications with their customers. She is a sales trainer, but I wouldn't even call you that. I would call you like a relationship manager in a lot of other ways, because it is a relationship, and if you wanted to have longevity, you should talk to somebody. Larry Vaughn, I love you, big techs. You should talk to somebody like Kelly Malazzi, and she'll be in the booth only till today, and then she's not. But at Success in Print is her Twitter, and she is a PI blogger. Go to Printing PI World, find Kelly Malazzi, and she also writes for my newsletter, News from the Printiverse. There's plenty of girls who print in the audience. I see Trish Wachowski, who just won the Girly Award, everybody. And Chris Echeverria from HP, and Marifa is over there from Pitney Bowes, and lots of other people I see in the audience, some guys who print too. But everybody, thank you so much for everything. And the other thing I want to say, my mother's not a girl who prints, but she's a girl who scans. So none of this would be here, quite frankly, if we don't go back to square one, which is that woman standing in the back with the scanner. That's my mom. We call her Lady Scan a lot, but her name is Harleen Satin. And how many people did she scan in this booth? Oh, almost every. Look at her odds are pretty good. So, Lady Scan a lot, thank you so much for everything. And the other thing is I finally got a picture of my cat who was in the hurricane, so he's okay. And I'm very happy now because Cletus Jefferson Corn was MIA for a few minutes there. So, okay. Let's wrap it up, and we have an HP event, a historical moment coming up in the Printiverse. We're going to have coffee, we're going to have snacks, and dare I say, Doris Brown McNally will be standing right where I am as soon as we come back. Nothing makes me prouder than saying those 3 words. So Doris, thank you so much, and we'll be right back, everybody. Thank you. Thank you, ladies.